Namaste.
Namaste.
So I'm having a little, having some goodies. I have a chocolate fudgesicle with this satsang this morning. So anyway, what's going on was this morning I spoke with Hridaya, and he was commenting on once again somebody wrote in on the video, and anytime I speak about Nityananda, I always get somebody that comes back with, if you were a genuine guru, you wouldn't open your mouth, and God is in control of it all. You know, you shouldn't say anything. You never speak out against gurus. You never say anything. You know, you should keep your mouth shut. If you were a real enlightened master, you would keep your mouth shut because God is in control of it, and God will handle it. So, okay, so we did the satsang and recorded it, but unfortunately what happened was what it recorded was only the sound. It didn't record the video portion, and as such I was not able to upload it to the YouTube, so it couldn't go on Facebook or YouTube. And so now I'm just recalling back through to Hridaya, and we'll go ahead and play the audio portion, and I'll enjoy my fudgesicle, and you can hear the satsang as it's unfolding. We have a part one to this, and then we have a second part that goes into a little more and a little deeper other things about it. And so if people think that only, you know, God is in control of everything, and that we should have no interference in anything, they're not understanding the free will of the planet. You know, they're not understanding the free will. And so let's listen a little bit more. As to this, their logic, if we didn't stand up for truth in any way, shape, or form, what would be the outcome of this? So, this lovely idea that if you were a genuine guru, you would never say anything bad. You would never say anything, you know, about any of these teachers and gurus that are cheating humanity, because God, quote unquote, God will take care of it. Okay. And so let me get this right. Since God, quote unquote, takes care of everything, then to follow your logic and your brilliance on this matter, we wouldn't need policemen. I think we should get away with the policemen. Why are we paying them? Because God's going to take care of everything. There's no need for jails. Why put them away? Because God, quote unquote, is going to take care of everything. You know? And I'm so happy to hear it. We must have a lot of saints on this planet, you know, that believe that. So that means if you get cheated in the marketplace, you're never going to open your mouth. So let's put your practice where it's at. You know, you think this is the way to go. You know, that you know, if you're really a spiritual person, you're never going to say anything bad anywhere, because God's going to handle it all. You know? So if you're getting the crap beat out of you, you're not going to go to the police because God's going to handle it. If you get cheated, you never sue anyone because God's going to handle it. You know? And so don't you see the foolishness of your logic? You know? If somebody is abusing your child, you do nothing because God will take care of it. If you see some man being pummeled in the street, you'll do nothing because God will take care of it.
He's going with this point that all is perfect, and missing the point that the perfection.
Okay, let's look at this. All is perfect. So again, if a dog comes up and biting the crap out of your leg, you're going to do nothing. You're just going to let him bite your leg because it's perfect. If somebody runs and hits your car, you're going to say absolutely nothing because it's perfect. You have nothing to say ever about anything because it's all perfect. So you have no reason to ever have any kind of anger with any situation because it's all perfect. Do you not see the fallacy of that? God, yes, in the end, God is perfection in that inner core. It does not mean that the world is perfect as it is. There is an inner perfection to the workings that's vastly different than everything is perfect as it is right now, and that nothing needs to be changed in the planet. Vastly different. If you're starving, it's perfect. You're going to say, it's wonderful, I'm starving. It's perfect. What nonsense! Do you not hope that humanity, someone will reach out and help you? Unbelievable. You know, these ideas, you know, and it sounds so grand on the surface, but when you really look at it, it's heinous. It means you absolutely are not accepting any responsibility anywhere for anything. Unless it suits you, you know. Then if something's happening in your world, I guarantee you're going to stand up and say something. But you don't want to be accountable anywhere else, unless it pertains to you directly. And this is the worst, absolute heinous use of karma that I've ever seen come out of India. This idea that it's their karma, you know, and therefore I'm not getting involved. They'll let an animal lay there and absolute suffer because these idiots have fed it plastic bags, and it lays there for 3 days suffering in agony. And because of this false, ridiculous belief, the vets are not even allowed to give them a shot to ease their suffering and put them out of their misery and let them pass in some sort of comfort. They will let them lay there in absolute agony. Absolute agony. And so this nonsense needs to be broken through. You know, absolutely it needs to be broken through. You know, it's got such a surface veneer of holiness, but there's nothing holy in this. You don't even care enough about your fellow man to challenge these so-called teachers that are out there. I care about them. This is why I'm opening my mouth. And I don't care if I'm not popular. You know, I don't care. Because realization does not make one blind. It doesn't make one an ostrich with their head in the sand. You know, this is not what it's about. One has to stand up for truth. Yes, there's relative truth and there's the absolute truth. You're living in a relative world at the moment. Okay? And just because one enters that absolute truth doesn't mean that the relative world cannot be, you know, aided in moving forward with things. Doesn't mean that at all. Okay, there's a vast disconnect in this ideology versus, you know, how it's going to think. You think it's wonderful. Oh, they're so wonderful because they're doing all these public programs. Well, why are they doing the public program if it's all perfect as it is? Why intercede at all? But you think it's wonderful and you'll give donations because the gurus are doing this public program and that public program, but follow your logic. It's all perfect as it is, so why do any programs? Let them starve. It's perfect. Why to retrain people? It's perfect. You know, that is big, absolute nonsense. It's only perfect when it suits you, that it gets you off the hook for actually standing up for truth and facing the consequences of it. Then it's perfect. But if you get cheated, then all of a sudden all bets are off. You're tooth and nail against it. Do you not see the disconnect in that? Let's get real. Let's get real with it. I'm talking about real spirituality here, not this BS veneer of holiness, and underneath it is so ugly, so nasty, so detrimental.
This one was coming out of India.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and it was associated with, he sees a guru, Nityananda, and then, oh no, we don't say anything bad because he's a guru.
Right, right. And this is the biggest fallacy ever. And this is the conditioning that needs to be broken through there. You know, you read the Guru Gita, and if you talk against a Swami, you have 10,000 lives in the burning hell and all of this. And so people are couched in this fear that they're not going to say anything. And this sets them up for being taken advantage of again and again and again. And just because they say they're higher, just because they can speak, you know, and talk, and their actions are not following the words, this is not a guru. This is not a guru. This is a con artist. This is a predator. And if you're not going to speak up against con artists and predators, then I don't know what's wrong with you. If you're not willing to stand up and you don't care that these people are being taken advantage of, then shame on you. Shame on you. And you call yourself a spiritual person. What is spiritual in that? Turning my head and being blind to it, and seeing people being taken advantage of, seeing their lives ruined by ones like this. Oh, it didn't happen to you, so therefore you don't care. And that's loving why? That's spiritual why? I'm sorry, there's no spirituality in that whatsoever. One should care more about their fellow man rather than you fear some powers, supposed powers of this teacher. Okay. Yes, I've lived in India. I've been threatened by these big so-called black tantras and everything. I'm still here. Okay? I'll confront them. I've confronted them before in the streets. I've confronted them, and I will continue to confront it. Because it's nonsense. They only have the power over you that you're allowing them to have. That's it. End of story. You know, because none of this can come against that, which is that divine essence of being, that is that perfection. Okay? So let's understand a little bit better. Let's understand. This is a tough talk, and I'm not going to pull any, bones. I'm so absolutely tired of hearing this. If you were a realized master, you wouldn't say anything. I've got news for you. Ramana would talk when they would bring stuff about Aurobindo. Well, Aurobindo says, and he flat out told him, watch, as Aurobindo says, oh, Ramana's mistaken, I'm higher than Ramana because I'm going to take my body with me. And Ramana just says, yeah, you think so? He told him flat out, you watch, he's not going to take that body with him. He's a delusion in his own mind. He's not what he's proclaiming to be. Ramana flat out said that. So this idea that if you're a genuine guru enlightened, you won't ever speak about it. No, the guru is speaking of truth. Always. Always. No matter where the chips fall, they will speak always the truth. Okay? We're not out here to gain a popularity contest. The ones that don't want to speak out against things, don't want to, because they don't want any attention drawn to them. Understand they've got something to hide. And if I speak out there, they're going to start looking here. Well, they can look here all they want to because there's nothing here to hide. Okay? Nobody here is being abused. Nobody here is in sexual drama. Nobody here is having things stolen from them. Nobody here is going in any of those directions. So go ahead and look here all you want. It's just those that have something to hide. They're not going to open their mouth because they know they're just as guilty as the one that they're calling out. Okay? There's a big difference. There's a big difference there. Okay? Absolutely ridiculous. It's that state of oneness. Oh, that the world, that everything's perfect. I'm in that drunken bliss of perfection. And yet people around you are suffering. So really, God loves to watch people suffer. He enjoys the suffering. Is that what you're trying to tell me? That's a godly thing? That there's suffering and inhumanity of man to man? And that's somehow equated that God's doing that? That God is causing the wars? That God is causing this ill-gotten nonsense? Then you know nothing of God. Absolutely nothing of God. God gives the opportunity for grace. God is that inherent perfection. And the rest of this trauma is mind, the man's mind, and their fallacy driving this delusion and causing the suffering to other mankind. That has nothing to do with God. Absolutely nothing. And for you to equate that with the perfection of God, shame on you. Shame on you. Then you understand nothing yet. Absolutely nothing. Truly, men want to make God in their image of heinousness, delusion, and then somehow say that that's good. And that is the darkest, darkest, darkest that one can do. How dare you call evil good? And when you're standing up for these gurus that are quote-unquote gurus that are doing this thing, that's exactly what you're doing. You're calling evil good. Do you understand nothing? And how great is the darkness when you start calling evil good and you're going to turn a blind eye to it. Then it can justify your actions, whatever you do, doesn't it? Yeah, lovely. No, it's time for humanity to start standing up. It's time to really get to honesty, integrity, transparency, and that simplicity of life. Turn your sound down. You got your volume all the way up again.
There we go.
So yeah, this is a tough talk. Now come back and tell me how if I were an enlightened being, how I wouldn't say anything anywhere. Please tell me that one more time. Put yourself up on that pedestal and talk down to me again. Please do it. You're so blind, you can't even see any kind of truth, and yet you're going to come here and instruct. Really, sit with this and look at it. I know you can't understand it from that divine, from that you're not in that non-dual. The mind has not stilled. Your mind is running a mile a minute. And yet you can't even see that, even the basic logic of anything at this point, let alone going beyond mind into that divine perfection of spontaneousness. Even that, you have no clarity. And you come here preaching this to me out of your delusion. And are so proud of yourself, patting yourself on the back. But look at it. Is that really the divine perfection and God is handling it all that you want? To get rid of police departments, to get rid of jails? That when you get cheated in the marketplace, you're not going to open your mouth because God's going to work it out? That when you get beaten, you're just going to say, okay, not a problem, God's going to work it out? That there will be no more social programs because they deserve to suffer, God's going to work it out, it's perfect? That the fighting between the Hindus and the Christians and the Buddhists, it's okay, because God's going to work it out? I'm not going to say anything. That the political systems, don't you want to see them cleaned up? But it doesn't matter because God's going to work it out. I'm not going to say anything against it. Such a fallacy. Such a fallacy. And I am so sick of seeing this Stepford spirituality face being presented because it's ugly. Very ugly. And it has no truth within it. All it is just, I don't want to be involved. I can turn a blind eye because it's uncomfortable. So I'll turn a blind eye and couch it in all this love and perfection and beauty. And that's not the reality. And if you're going to get to realization, first you have to encounter the reality, not this projection of this fakeness. You have to get real. First, you have to get real. And yes, at some point in the journey, you go through this bliss of oneness, this drug, where one is blinded in this drama of it's all perfection and all beauty, and that's what you want to gravitate to because it sounds good, but it's not the truth. There's another hole to fall through. It blows all of that out. And then one understands compassion. Then one understands love. Then one understands what's the truth of it. Not this fake-driven Stepford, counterfeit of it. Not this counterfeit of it. And even in that, to sit there and turn a blind eye, do you not see how absolutely misbegotten that is? I'm claiming it's all perfect, it's all wonderful. So anyway, thank you again for allowing this satsang to take place. Thank you so much. Please, please bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. A genuine guru is weighty. It's what it means, weighty. It doesn't mean an ostrich with the head in the sand. Weighty means they are going to confront, they're going to bring it to the truth. It's going to be undeniable, just in your face. Honesty. Weighty. Now I'm going to add something to this. It doesn't mean fluffy, puffy, airy-fairy either. And that's what people are looking for. They want this airy-fairy thing, I'm only going to always speak sweet words. I'm not going to ever say anything hard, And that's not the truth of it. That's not the truth of what a guru should be. So let's continue on. They're going to dispel the darkness. They're not going to couch things in darkness. They're not going to turn a blind eye to darkness. They bring light in the midst of darkness. Do you understand even what a guru is? And to sit there and call these ones gurus And they're most definitely not a guru of any type, and most certainly not a sat guru that understands and gives that spiritual truth and the weightiness of that truth. They're con artists. And you want to be afraid of that, and you want to, hold that up in some regard. That is somebody that says, I'm preaching light in the front and behind they're doing darkness. What kind of guru is that? It's not a guru. I don't care how nice their words sound on the surface. That is not a guru. Not a guru. But if you want to be there, be my guest. If you want to buy the ticket to that ride, go enjoy it. And then if you get taken advantage of, you cannot come here and say, why didn't somebody tell me of this? And so that's the end of the first part of it. And I'll go ahead and stop this and restart it again so that we can get part 2. And we'll continue on with a little more depth as to the condition of man and the fall of mankind and what all of this has to do a little more biblically, etc. So thank you for tuning into part 1, and I hope you stay tuned for part 2. Namaste.